Okay, today we're going to be comparing and ordering fractions. Lesson 2.4. So we want to compare these two, meaning that we want to decide, is the first one greater than, less than, or equal to the second one. So the first thing we're going to need to do is find, and it says in the top, using the LCD, we know that to be the lowest common denominator, which is also equivalent to the least common multiple of the denominators. So if we can find the LCM of 8 and 12, it's 24. If you're not sure, you could do the latter with 8 and 12, divide by 4, and get 2 and 3, and then take 4 times 2 times 3, which is 24. Then we will rewrite, in step 2, the fractions with the common denominator. So we have to rewrite 3/8 so that it is equal to a denominator of 24. So we know that when we do this, we will take the 3/8 that we started with, and I'll kind of circle it right here. And what's happening with 3/8, we want the denominator to be 24. So 8 times what number equals 24? Since that number is 3, we have to multiply the top also by 3. This right here is one of those fancy forms of 1 because it's a fraction equal to 1, and the identity property of multiplication allows us to take any number, any fraction, anything, and multiply it by 1 and still be equivalent to itself. In this case, because the form of 1 we use has 3's, 3 over 3, it changes the numbers, but it keeps the equivalence. So these fractions are equivalent. 3/8 equals 9/24. So we'll do the same with 5/12. We ask ourselves, what times 12 is equal to 24? 12 times 2. So we multiply the top by 2. We get 10/24. Now we look at and compare the numerators. So 9 is less than 10. So 9/24 is less than 10/24. And if we go back to our original fractions, that makes 3/8 less than 5/12. Alright, I'm going to give you one to try. Copy and complete with the statement of less than, greater than, or equal to. How does 2/3 compare to 5/8? First thing we need to do is decide what the least common multiple between 3 and 8 are. And since the only common factor they have is 1, I know that I'm going to multiply them together and find an LCM of 24. Now I have to rewrite each fraction with a denominator of 24, and this is how I would show my work. So I'd ask myself, 3 times what number is 24? We know the answer to be 8. So I multiply 2 times 8, and I get a numerator of 16. Then I take my 5/8, and I know that I have to multiply 8 by 3, so I multiply 5 by 3. This is exactly the kind of work I expect to see on your papers. So then I compare the 16 and the 15. Since 16 is greater than 15, the symbol that goes in there is the greater than symbol. 2/3 is greater than 5/8. So, because 16/24 is greater than 15/24, we write the greater than symbol. Okay? Try this one. 2/4 and 15/20. So let's give it a try. First thing we need is the LCM of 4 and 20. They are both even. Oh, well, silly me. 4 is obviously a factor of 20, which makes our LCM equal to 20. And I know most of you are very good at being able to look at that and say 20 is the LCM. All right? So we want to write 2/4 with a denominator of 20. And I ask myself, what times 4? The answer is 5, so I multiply 2/4 by 5/5. And I'll get 10. Then I do my 15/20. It's already with the common denominator. So what's one greater, the 10 or the 15? Since the 15 is greater, the less than symbol goes between these two fractions for that reason. Okay, one more. Let's first find the LCM or LCD of 16 and 18. They are both even. And now, I don't think there's anything else I can divide those by. So 2 times 8 is 16. 16 times 9 is actually going to be equal to 144. So if I'm writing my fractions, okay, I saw the 16 when I did the 2 times the 8, and I know that that times 9, so I'm taking top and bottom times 9. And it's going to be 18 times 8, so top times 8. So now I'm comparing 81 and 88. Since 88 is greater, the less than symbol, 9/16 is less than 11/18. Is that what you got? All right, what is the order from least to greatest of 4 and 7/16, 19/4, and 35/8? So we're going to put this in order from least to greatest. Is it A, B, C, or D? Work on that right now by first finding the lowest common denominator for 16, 4, and 8. And I'll give you a hint. You will need the mixed number to be written as a improper fraction in order to be able to do this. Okay, since I have a denominator of 16, 4, and 8, I know that I need the LCM of 16, 4, and 8. They're all divisible by 4. And I have 2 of them that are divisible by 2. So 4 times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. And again, this is another one where they were all 3 so probably obvious because 16's a multiple of 4 and 8. That happens to be the lowest multiple because it's the smallest multiple of 16. So now that we know we need the denominator to be 16, we have to change 4 and 7/16 into an improper fraction. And to do that, you take 16 times 4 and then add the 7. So 16 times 4 plus 7 will be all over 16. 16 times 4 plus 7 is 71. So we have a 71 over 16. If we have 19/4, we have to multiply that times 4 over 4 to get a denominator of 16. And we get 76 for our numerator. And then last 35 over 8 times 2 over 2 is equal to 70/16. So since this is the smallest one, the 70, then the 71, then the 76, you write your answer in the original form. So 35/8 is the smallest number. 4 and 7/16 is the second number. And finally, our largest number had the smallest denominator. Okay. So we're going to go through equivalent fractions, everything that we just did. And compare the numerators. Since 70 is less than 71 and 71 is less than 76, you would have them in the order of 35 over 8, 4 and 7/16. So the correct answer was D. So let's look at this one. A female orangutan is about 3 3/7 feet tall. A male is about 3 2/5 feet tall. Which is taller? So what you want to do is take each one and change it to an improper fraction. Okay, so 7 times 3 is 21 plus 3. So 7 times 3 plus 3 all over 7 is going to be equal to 25. Nope, let's try that again. 24 over 7. 3 times 5 plus 2 is going to be 17. So 3 times 5 plus 2 all over 5. 17 over 5. And now we need the LCM of the 7 and the 5. Since their GCF is 1, we're going to multiply them together. So we need to rewrite this fraction with a denominator of 35. So it means we're going to multiply by 5. Look at how big these numbers are going to get. So we have 120 over 35. And then this one, to equal 35, has to get multiplied by 7. 17 times 7 is 119. Wow, they're really close, aren't they? So the female orangutan is taller. So everything we just did, comparing the fractions, so that we know that the female orangutan is taller. All right, here we go. One for you to practice on your own. Well, I got 2. All right. So copy and complete the statement, and I want you to compare 16/5 and 3 1/3 to see if it is less than, greater than, or equal to. So we look at the 5 and the 3, and since their common factor is 1, we'll multiply them together to find the LCM of 15. So we want to take 16 over 5 and write that with the denominator of 15. So we'll times by 3, times by 3, and we'll get 48. 3 times 3 plus 1 over 3 is going to be equal to 10/3. And we want to get to a denominator of 15, so we'll multiply both by 5, which is 50. So that makes the 3 1/3 greater than, so 16/5 is less than, the less than symbol, because remember you're always reading them from left to right. Okay, here we go. Order the numbers from least to greatest. First, they all need to be as improper fractions. Second, get a common denominator. Third, compare the numerators. Okay, we're going to get started on this problem. The first thing I need to do is figure out what the denominator is, mainly for this one because it's in decimal form. So when I want to write a decimal as a fraction, I read the decimal place value. So 2 7/10 sounds like 2 7/10. So now I need the LCM of 9, 12, 10, and 4. Let's go ahead and do a factor of 2 and bring down the 9. So if I divide 12 by 2, I get a 6, 10 by 2 is a 5, and 4 by 2. Okay, let's do a factor of 3. Let's break this up even more. Oops, sorry, I don't need to circle the 9. I already brought it down. That was crazy. All right. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 5 cannot be divided, and 2 cannot be divided. But I do have another factor of 2 here. So 1, bring down the 5, and 1, and now I'm left with nothing else that has anything in common. So 2 times 3 is 6, times 2 is 12. 12 times 3 is 36, and then 36 times 5 is 180. So we want to get a common denominator of 180. So I will rewrite my mixed numbers as improper. So 9 times 2 plus 7 over 9 is going to be 25 over 9. 12 times 2 is 24 plus 5 all over 12. It's going to be 29 over 12. 10 times 2 plus 7 all over 10. 10 times 2 is 27 over 10. And luckily 11/4 is already in that form. So now we need every denominator to be 180. Okay, when I look to see what multiply 9 by, the answer is 20. So 25 times 20 is 500. Big numerators. I'll take 12 times 15. This is where our calculator comes in real handy as a time saver, because we want to take 29 times 15, and I got 435. 10 times 18, so 27 times 18. You can see that there's a lot of work that you can be showing. And if I take 4 times 45, I'll get 180. So 11 times 45. Now I put them in order from least to greatest. So this would be the first one I would write. This would be the second one. This would be the third one. And this would be the fourth one. Okay, so to help us get these, I'm going to make a little more room. All right, now you put them back in their original form. So 2 and 5/12. Then 2.7. Then 11/4. And finally 2 and 7/9. This would be our answer in least to greatest.